Welcome to Season 4 of She Lancer, Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. I'm your host, Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and this podcast are the audio versions of my live Q&A chats on YouTube. If you'd like to be part of the live Q&A chats, come on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. I'm live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. EST. We talk about voiceover, the business of voiceover, audiobooks, and so much more. Find more information on my website, voiceoverangela.com. Enjoy today's episode. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again today for another live community chat here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. We're glad to have you. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to you, welcoming you to this new and challenging world of voiceover and audiobook narration. Also, my channel has many videos about, dedicated to the tips and tricks and techniques of this industry, everything that I do every day in my own voiceover business. And then we also get together weekly in these community chat sessions to talk about all of the different aspects and, in this case, challenges of voiceover. If you're not new here, then every week we have a new poll and is typically our topic of discussion for the day. And today's topic poll is, what is your biggest challenge right now? And let's see what you guys are saying. So go ahead and cast your vote if you haven't already. Looks like we have about 20 votes right now. I'm fighting a sneeze. Hold on. I think we're good. Okay, 21 votes. Okay, so it looks like 29% of you said comparisonitis or overwhelm, right? Either or. 55% of you said finding time. I know that's a big one right now for a lot of people. 9% of you said finding work, and another 9% of you said finding training. And I think for me, my biggest challenge right now would be time. Also, you put me in that category, time. There's just too much to do in a day. And I think we have to remember that, this is a business. We have to treat it as such. And part of that growing and building a business is wearing the many hats that we have to wear in managing and growing our business, right? Because we're not only the voiceover artist or audiobook narrator, but we're also the CEO. We're also the CFO. We're also the marketing manager. We wear all the hats and do everything. So that in and of itself takes a lot of time and focus. And then we have our lives that we also have to find time for. So it's a great and fulfilling thing to be a business owner. But in reaching that pinnacle of being a business owner, one of the things that we think about when we want to achieve that is to finally be the master of finding that balance, right? That work-life balance. And then here we are again, right? Trying to find that work-life balance when you're trying to maintain and grow your business. So it's difficult, especially if you're a parent and you have, kiddos that have, and I was just glancing at some of the comments, and I'm in the same boat. I mean, I only have the one, but still, we all have the children that have the extracurriculars and the sports, and, it's tough. It's really tough. But I think time is definitely going to be one of the things that we talk about today, because that is definitely a factor. But I also wanted to touch on the comparisonitis and overwhelm, because I think those play in a lot to what I was just talking about, because there is a lot to managing a business and being a business owner. And in that, is finding the time, the balance, right? Finding the work, and then finding training, because I'm a big advocate for investing in yourself, right? The university of you. It's training is something that is definitely needed and necessary to continue to grow and sustain and support your business, right? Is continual learning. I think that's important too. So, but it all really comes back to time, right? Finding the time. How do you find the time? And as you all know, if you've been watching me for any length of time, I'm always saying that it's going to take the time that it's going to take to get to that place that you call there, right? When I get there, I'll be happy. When I get there, I'll be successful. When I get there, and that there could be, whatever level of success is definition of there for you. It could be I reach a certain amount of money, I land this size or this, client or whatever that there is for you. And it's going to take whatever time it's going to take to get there, because you have to maintain a balance. You have to maintain a healthy balance of life and business. And that's hard to do. And then when the comparisonitis or the overwhelm start to come in, that's when I think it's definitely time to maybe slow down a bit and really spend more time with the family, right? I also think that the overwhelm and comparisonitis are closely related to maybe are almost along the same vein as like the imposter syndrome, especially comparisonitis for sure. And those come from, I think, fear, right? And the overwhelm is also, I think, a little bit of fear of maybe when you stop and think of, okay, I'm super overwhelmed. Maybe I've got too much on my plate. Maybe I do have a little bit of business coming in and I'm freaking out because I need to find time to do the work and then also continue to build my business. And I've got to address this. I've got to address that. And then the fear that comes with that is, how do I manage this? Well, one thing you could do is increase your prices to sort of slow down the work. I mean, I know that part is scary, but it's, demand. So you increase your prices, right? Supply and demand. I feel like I'm going off on a couple of different tangents. I'm sorry. It's one of those mornings. So I guess my point is that a lot of these are sort of closely tied together. So we have about 10 more votes now since we first looked at it, and it's still almost, well, more than almost half of you are saying finding time. Interesting. And then finding work is definitely coming up. And I think we have to give ourselves some grace. Ultimately, all these things, we have to give ourselves some grace, have some patience, take some time to reevaluate and assess where we currently are, what is necessary, what is a priority. Of course, priorities need to be done first, and then always, of course, making time for family. And I was asked this question a few days ago about how I find the time. When I went full time nearly 4 years ago, I'm almost at the anniversary of 4 years ago now, I told myself, this is a business, and you have to have that mindset of this is a business. I am not like, this isn't my hobby, or you have to have the CEO mindset to run your business. So I said, okay, this is a business, so I'm going to have business hours. I'm not going to work weekends. I'm not going to meet with people, whether it be mentees. I'm going to try to keep clients. I'm going to try to keep my weekends for my family. I do get some work done while everybody's sleeping in the morning, but I try to keep my weekends for my family. And that is how that's how I find a kind of a balance, right? And since I am at home full time, I can do all my work and meet with clients, meet with mentees, or whatever I'm doing, getting the work done during the day. And then I can spend the rest of the afternoon with the kiddo when he comes home from school, help from homework, with homework, getting dinner done, going to martial arts classes and things that he wants to do. So that's how I find my balance. Now, if you're still employed full time, maybe you have a couple of jobs, that's going to be tough. And you might have a lot less time available to you to build your business. But again, don't push yourself too hard because you don't want to burn yourself out before you even get started. So all of these big chunks that you have to get accomplished, right? All of this stuff sitting on your shoulders and your inner voice is just screaming at you. You got to get this done. You got to get this done. You got to get this done. I'm telling you, write all this stuff down. Write it all down on a piece of paper. Pick out what's the priority. If it's a big priority, chunk it down into smaller pieces. And then get little pieces done, in the time that you have. And don't beat yourself up if you don't accomplish that. Because it's going to take the time it's going to take. But progress, keep in mind that progress, no matter how small, is still progress. It's someone else the other day tell me, I feel like I'm taking 3 steps forward and then 2.5 back. And I said, that's still forward. That's still forward. Even if it's 3 steps forward and 2.5 back, that's still forward. Right? I mean, it is. Okay. Pumping the brakes on the tangent. But I think you guys understand what I'm saying, right? It's up to you, right? Because you're ultimately the one that's accountable for your business. You're building your business. It's up to you to make these decisions. And then I highly recommend making a decision to give yourself time for family, for yourself, self-care also, and then a little bit of time for your business. Don't let the overwhelm get you down. It's going to take the time it's going to take. Okay. Getting off my soapbox. Let's see what you guys are saying. Oh my God. There's 46 of you watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with us today. First one in is Joya. Hi, Joya. I answered finding time, but I'm not sure that is a challenge in starting VO work as much as having enough time to implement a life outside of VO work. Well, you are an exception because you are a machine. You are a work machine. So I think you're a little bit of an exception, but still finding time, relatable. I think most of us can relate with that. 0% pride says, I hope you're doing well. Well, thank you. You just made my day. Oh, I am doing fabulous. I'm doing fabulous. Thank you. Owen is here. Hey, Owen. For me, it's saving money to buy the equipment necessary to get started, and then finding time and then motivation to learn. I think the most important thing in that statement is the motivation. And that's going to come down to your why, because your motivation is what's going to push you forward to make time. Your motivation is going to push you forward to save the money, right? And then again, don't be too hard on yourself if it's not moving forward as fast as you hoped or what you thought. It's going to take the time it's going to take. As long as you're moving forward, that's still progress, right? Strive for progress, not perfection. We're always too hard on ourselves. Dylan says, it's hockey season for my daughter, so finding time is tough. Lots of late night recording for me. To be fair, except for the month of July. It's always hockey season. But those are still important things to do if you look at it that way. Because one day she'll be grown and out of the house and you'll be thankful that you spent that time with her, right? Don't overlook that part. That's important too. Hot Pink Bear says, my kids are full in competition season for gymnastics. We are traveling almost every weekend. Time is a hard one. Oh, I'm sure. And you could, for those of you that do travel or travel often, you could have what we call a travel VO rig or a travel rig, right? You could have a bag that has your laptop, a desk stand for your microphone, a travel mic. And then if you can figure out an effective way from hotel to hotel or Airbnb or wherever you stay to block out noise around you. And a lot of people just make like a pillow fort or with blankets or in the closet if there is one, and make sort of like a travel VO booth, right, to do work in. But again, that might be a little bit hard if you're sharing a room with other people. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? Or just take the time and enjoy it with your family and then focus on the other stuff when you get back. But, you know, you got to do that stuff. MG Stevens says, good morning, Angela and everyone. Good morning, MG Stevens. Good to see you. Ryder Dude says, good morning. Morning, Ryder Dude. Pamela also, Platinum Group is representing. Pamela says, good morning, all. Good morning, Pamela. Glad to see you here. Joy. Hey, Joy. Good morning, Angela and company from a cloudy 37-degree Southfield, Michigan. It seems like it's always in the 30s there. It's in the 30s a lot in Michigan, isn't it? Dylan says, last weekend I had to take my recording equipment to a hotel in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and record some auditions in a hotel blanket fort because of hockey. Well, that's awesome. That is so awesome. Old Slacker says, hi, Angela. Hi, chat. Hope everyone's having a great day. Absolutely, Old Slacker. I like that. Eric is here. Hello, Eric. Good morning. Trying to find consistent work at this point. Like I told you before, 2024 is the year of putting the business first. That's awesome. That is awesome. Good for you, Eric. Good for you. Ryder Dude says, comparisonitis has been a lifelong problem for me. I know. And I think it's, especially, no, I'd say it's even worse for the kids these days. Maybe they're a little bit more open-minded and receptive to seeing what is actually in front of them than we were perhaps in Generation X and older, looking at TV commercials and things and told how we were, what is appealing, how we should look to be appealing or all of those things, or what is wrong, what is, what we should look like. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I get it. It's sort of ingrained in our DNA, right? We kind of grew up with, this looks great, this doesn't, So I get it. Body dysmorphia is a thing for sure. But finding that time in your life, and I think I'm right about there almost at this point in my life, that I'm accepting, what can I do? I'm thankful that I am who I am and everything that I've been through to make me who I am. Yeah. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Stop the tangent. 0% pride says, I'm following you fine. Good. I sometimes my brain has all these ideas at one time and my brain say, no, you need to talk about this. No, you need to mention this. No, it's like squirrel. So I'm good. I'm glad I'm making sense. Masonry Construction says, I do much more writing than audio work, and getting work has been a struggle. However, the trend is up. Awesome. For me, it's been about 3 years, which is not unusual for any business. Hang in there. Absolutely. And I think that is one key takeaway from this conversation for sure, is consistency, patience, right? And consistency. Did I mention consistency? Consistency, meaning that you keep moving forward. No matter how small the step, it's consistent progress forward. Again, not perfection. If you don't know who Gary Vee is, go look up Gary Vee. Perfection, progress. Not perfection, progress, strive for progress, not perfection, right? MG Stevens says there is work-life balance for sure. Then there's also the balance of training, coaching, joining, keeping up on multiple platforms, auditioning, upgrading demos, tweaking audio. I feel that. Oh my gosh, I feel that. I feel that. And then I think that is where my answer of time comes from, because I want to be present for all these things, but I don't have the bandwidth for it. So I have to tell myself, okay, what is the priority? Training and keeping up with my groups, right? I can't be everywhere all the time, all day. I just can't. And I have to accept that. I have to accept that I'm going to miss some comments. I'm going to miss some questions. I'm going to miss some things because I cannot be everywhere all the time, right? So I have to, and it sounds like you have to also decide what's the priority. And of course, priority is always the income, keeping the income to keep the business afloat, right? I mean, aside from family stuff, I mean, for the business sakes, income is the most important thing. So what's the most effective way to do that? Should I go onto a site and see if there's anything available right now that fits, something that I can do? Or is my best decision to go and find a way to market myself? Should I go start email marketing? What is the best action for you to take at this juncture, right? And then once you have a little bit more time freed up, consider finding someone to train with, because that is important too. That will only help you. It is an investment in you and your business. It's not something that's frivolous. And, but it is important. It is important to continuously learn and to keep up with trends and things like that. Upgrading demos. Yeah. Tweaking audio. It's a lot. But again, I think it's just something you need to figure out what's the priority and focus on that. I feel that. I so feel that. Old Slacker says, I just completed my first big contract, a 12-hour book. Congratulations. Just waiting now as the client is reviewing it. I'm a case of nerves. I feel that too. I think a lot of people would feel that. But don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. I mean, even if they ask for some revisions, it's okay. I mean, because we're all individual people and we're all going to have individual takes and interpretations of things. So even if you felt like you're on the same page with the client and then the client comes back and says, hey, maybe could you give this word more emphasis, or maybe you pronounce this word wrong, you just go in and fix it and move on to the next one. You know what I mean? It's not a bad thing. This is a collaboration, I think, is what I'm trying to say. Audiobook production is a collaboration with the rights holder, and they're also going to have some creative input. So don't be sitting there nervous about revisions or anything like that. Or maybe it's nerves because you're excited that this is done. I would say once this all is done, right? If the client comes back and says, hey, I want a couple of revisions done, get the revisions done. And then once the book goes off to quality assurance, I'm assuming it's on ACX, then celebrate that, right? Celebrate that. Celebrate all the wins. It's important to do that too. MG Stevens says, for me, it's reminding myself first things first and then constantly reevaluating what those things are. Yeah, because then you get stuck in the analysis paralysis, right? We overthink things. So I don't allow myself to do that by, again, writing everything down that needs to be done. And then the first thing that jumps out at me, right? This is the thing that would make the most impact right now. I focus on that, and then the rest of it just goes down the back burner until that one thing, that most impactful thing, is done. I just put blinders on like a racehorse. I just don't, that one thing, nothing else at the moment, right? That's the only way that I can get that stuff done without allowing the analysis paralysis to grip my throat and not let go. Patty Palmer says, hi, Angela. Hi, Patty. fear begets procrastination, or does it? The imposter syndrome feels so real. How do we know when we are ready, meaning skills to acquire jobs? Um, I think fear is the root of many things that hold us back. And I think a lot of that fear is self-imposed, right? Because it's not fear like a lion charging at you. That's a different kind of fear. That's survival fear, right? The kind of fear that we impose on ourselves is, I think, a lot of what procrastination, this comparisonitis, imposter syndrome, I think a lot of that stems from fear. So recognizing the difference between the two is a huge step in and of itself. Because if you're finding yourself holding yourself back from fear of success, fear of failure, fear of whatever it is, ask yourself, is this like a lion charging at me? No. What's going to happen if I don't do this? Okay, well, I'm never going to move forward. Okay, well, do I want to move forward? Yes. Okay, well, I'm moving forward then, right? Is it going to kill me? No. Right? I think that was a big aha for me, and I'm hoping that helps some of you. But your second question, how do we know when we're ready? I would say one of the best moves that you could do if you're not already part of a voiceover group, say on Facebook, or part of like a workshop, a community that you trust to give you honest feedback, or get a coach or a mentor to help you out with this stuff. But if you want to know for sure, if you just want a second pair of ears on something, or a group of ears on something to give you feedback, to let you know if there's something that you should work on, right? A community is what you need, or a coach or a mentor, if you want to know for sure. Otherwise, if you don't want to do any of that, like I didn't, because I'm stubborn and hard-headed and independent, you just move forward. You just go. Just go. And then you'll tweak things along the way, but it would, of course, be beneficial to have feedback on what you're doing first before you go out into the world. But be careful with the ready, is what I really wanted to touch on, because that is something that can hold you back. That is self-imposed fear. I'm not ready, right? That's very close to procrastinating, right? I'm not ready yet. I still need to do this. I still need to learn that. I still need to, whatever, right? So to find out for sure, get some feedback so you don't get stuck in that procrastinating phase. Kelsaroni. Good morning, Angela. Good morning, Kelsey. Editing short form videos for my VO studio job. Eyes are melting out of my head. Donuts, anyone? Yes, please. Would love some donuts. 0% Pride says it is because you learn from those 3 steps back. Very true. Very true. And that is another great way to look at challenges or obstacles, or even when you fall on your face. I wouldn't consider any of those things negative. I would see those as learning opportunities, right? There is no failure. It's a learning opportunity. Because if you didn't fall on your face, then, maybe there was a lesson that you needed to learn to only strengthen and improve you and your business going forward. That's how we learn. Sometimes it's not easy, but it's all learning. Masonry Construction says, in the beginning stages of your business, you may need to ignore your personal preferences, at least to some extent. Realize that you will need to earn the right to practice your personal preferences. That's a good point too. Pardon me while I chapstick. Yes, but I think what you're saying there is that you might need to not be morally gray. I think that might be the wrong way of saying that, but maybe bend some of your own personal rules in the beginning. I think I know what you're saying. Kara Hayden says, good morning or morning. Morning, Kara. How you doing? Old Slacker says, Angela, have you ever had troubles with a client not paying and or disappearing after job completion? Mm, no, not really. I mean, there's been a couple of snafus on some of the sites that I find work on, but they've all been fixed. I'm trying to think of clients. I've never been completely ghosted. No, I've never done work, submitted it, and then been ghosted on payment. No, I've never done that. I'm entirely too careful for that to happen. Knock on wood. I'm very selective on who I work with, and I trust my gut a lot on who I work with. If my spidey senses are tingling, then I don't go forward with it. I've never been in that position where I've been done the job and then completely ghosted. No, thankfully. Thankfully, no. Jonathan is here. Hey, Jonathan. Able to swing by super late just for a few minutes of work. I have bagels, which kind of look like donuts. Hey, bagels are welcome too. I like bagels. Bagels will work. Joey West says, in my case, I've been in a slump since the holidays and I'm still trying to get that successful audition. Well, girl, practice. Practice. I've seen an improvement in you in group. So keep practicing, keep trying, keep going forward, Joy. Don't lose hope. Colette is here. Hey, Colette. Nice to see you on YouTube. That's awesome. Richard Matlack. Hey, Richard. What do you do if you do not have the equipment? I would say you can find some of the equipment secondhand. You don't have to buy brand new equipment. Facebook Marketplace. There's actually, what is it called? I can never remember the name of it, but there is a group on Facebook. That's all that it is selling and buying used VO gear, right? So you don't have to buy the stuff brand new. Or, like Anthony Pica did, put it on a credit card and pay it off later, knowing that you have the drive and this is your purpose, right? Your why is strong enough, knowing for sure that you're going to pay it off in the future. However you want to do it, I can't give you, I can't tell you what to do, but whatever feels right to you. But you will need the equipment to do this for sure. I would not recommend using your phone. I would not recommend using a headset with a microphone headset, would not recommend using those things. You need good equipment to do this. And if you have to save up for it, you have to save up for it, right? Do what you got to do. If you want to do this bad enough, you'll make it happen when whatever way works for you. But just keep at it. Masonry Construction says, Owen, don't obsess about saving up to get great equipment first. A $50 mic and your existing computer will be okay to get started. Get some gigs as a live storyteller, for instance, kids or oldsters. There you go. Where there's will, there's way. Andrietta Sims says, I relate to your statement, Patty. Overcoming procrastination caused by fear, not being ready or good enough yet, and so on. That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. Colette says, Joy, I feel like we should send you blankets. I know, right? It's always cold there where she's at. Kelseroni says, my challenges right now are making time for auditions, creating a better, more sustainable weekly self-employed schedule, and a necessity to make more moolah to pay for lessons. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of us can relate to that statement too, but just keeping at it. And if you're trying to figure out a sustainable weekly self-employed schedule, make notes of what you do on a daily basis. Like if you have to take the kiddos to school, pick them up. If you got to go to extracurriculars with them, dinner, all of those things. If you have any other responsibilities that you have to, address during the day, start to make notes of those things. And then you'll start to see that there might be sections of time at night. And this is what I had to do. Was at night when I got home from work and then the kiddo went to bed, I would spend a couple of hours in here, building my business. again, it's going to take the time it's going to take, right? This is not a get rich quick thing. I think you all know that, right? And I've said that many times before. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. It takes time to build up all of these things, time to learn, time to grow. But again, if your why is strong enough, then you'll make it happen. Old Slacker says, at last, a career where I can make blanket forts again and have a reason. Absolutely. Absolutely. 0% Pride says, I'm in Kalamazoo and it's indeed frigid. Man, no thanks. I couldn't do it. Being that cold. Dylan says, to Old Slacker, my 5-year-old son has a lot of fun with it after I was done the pillow fort. I'm sure. Dylan says, Jackson, Michigan here. God. 0% Pride says, a lot of Michigan design here. That's wild. I was thinking of going up to GR to see what the IRL VO scene is like. Old Slacker says, as my friend Scooter says, perfection is the enemy of the good. I like it. Dylan says, I have wanted to go up there too. Grand Rapids has a couple of good studios that will produce pro demos for you, but again, time or lack thereof. Yeah. Yep. Colette says, I think overthinking is one of my many issues, and we all do it. Colette. We all do it. I think, again, the way that I got around that was just to write everything down, focus on the most important thing, the most impactful thing, and then laser focus on that. If you have to, cross through all the other stuff so you don't see it, it's not in your line of sight, and just focus on that one thing. Just Jada says, hello. Hello, Jada. How would you recommend a beginner logistically start in this industry if they are working 9 hours a day? I don't want to sign up for a project I can't complete in time. Well, let me tell you, Jada, when I first started this, I was a manager at a car dealership. I was pretty much out of the house for 11 hours a day, on call most of the time. If I can do it, you can do it, right? Even with, I know I only have one child, but still throw that into the mix. I'm a parent, household stuff. I had to do this slowly. I had to sacrifice some time sleeping. I had to sacrifice some weekends. I was going to do what it took to get to a place where I could make this my full-time job. And I did. Because my why is strong enough. And I think that's why your why is so important, because that is what's going to carry you through, right? Ask yourself, why do I want to do this? Why do I want this? Is it just to make some money? If that's the case, you're probably not going to get too far. Just being real. You have to have a really good why. This is my dream. I've always wanted to do this. I want to voice, Animal Planet or whatever it is that you want to do. Your why has to be strong enough to carry you through. This is not a get rich quick thing. Regardless of what some of those social media posts you see, hey, do you want to make $1,000 an hour in your pajamas with your phone? No, that's not true. This takes time. It takes effort. It takes investment and a strong why. But you can do it, Jada. I have faith in you. If I can do it, you got this. 0% Pride says, I feel you, Dylan. I'll let you know how things go if I get there before you. I think it's going to be great, man. JCC AOL says, I am late once again, but since it's Fat Tuesday, I did not bring donuts, but Paziki, Polish pastry, did I say that right? Goes back to medieval times, popular on Fat Tuesday. Is it Fat Tuesday? How did I miss that? Happy Mardi Gras. I've always wanted to go to New Orleans. Dylan says, likewise, it'll be fun to see how the big studios do everything. That would be cool. I'd like to see that too. Leslie says, good morning, Angela and everyone. Good morning, Leslie. Good to see you. Dealing with updating websites, social media, making samples, daily life chores has been challenging. I finally did a priority list, time allowance, and just do it. Atta girl. Good job. Dylan says, is it Paziki? I don't want to say that wrong. Drooling. I've never had that before. Rustic Hillbilly is here. Good morning, all. Good morning, Rustic Hillbilly. What's it like in Oregon today? Redder Dude says, regarding the feeling of needing to be perfect, one should keep in mind the degree of perfection that is needed for the activity at hand, whatever it is. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be good enough to get the job done well. And this kind of goes back to what we talked about, oh God, maybe a couple of months ago when we talked about you don't need to be, don't strive for perfect, strive for satisfied, right? Because there really is no perfect. Perfect is relative from person to person. We all have a different definition of what perfect is. There is no perfect. So strive for satisfied, right? We get so hung up on perfect or procrastinating along the same lines. Masonry Construction says, by earning your personal preferences, I was thinking about preferences as to how you spend your time, never moral guidelines. I gotcha. Okay. Yes, time for sure. That like sacrificing time sleeping, sacrificing time with family in the beginning, right? Yeah. Spending more time building your business than doing maybe other things that you enjoyed also. Andrea Sim says, procrastinating. Now I know how to make sure I don't fall into that trap as a beginner. I'm taking classes, about to purchase equipment, have sourced an audio engineer, getting ready. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think just recognizing procrastinating and then fear also are two important steps for realizing what they are and what they can do to you, right? And then going, okay, well, I know what I'm doing here. I'm not going down that road. I'm going to go down this road. I'm going to keep moving forward and not allow myself to get stuck with comparisonitis or, analysis paralysis or letting the imposter syndrome tell me things that aren't true, right? It's hard to do. It's hard to do for sure, but recognizing that I think is a big step to getting past it. Okay, that was the rest of your thought, Writer Dude. Robert Reed says, I have been here all hour, but just now found a device that I can say hi with. Well, hello. I'm glad you did. How you doing, Robert? What time is it? I get about 20 minutes. Another early day at school. I got to get out of here in about 20 minutes. Candy Byrne, Sweet Fire Coaching. Hey, Candy, how you doing? For the fear voice, I find it helpful to offer yourself the kind of support you'd give to a child. Well, there you go. That's one way of looking at it. I always I choose violence. No, thank you. Maybe just because I'm an Aries. But that is a good way of doing it, for sure. I guess it depends on where your fear stems from, right? Joy says, this is Fat Tuesday. So this is where we dine on Poochski. Thank you for that. I don't think I've ever had that before. Bear338 says, working while listening, so a little behind. I have learned to embrace my fear and look for the lesson it is teaching me. Have an issue on deciding on my business name. I've met a lot of people that have used ChatGPT. Like you input some information, then you ask it for some ideas, and then it'll at least give you somewhere to jump off from. Right? It'll give you some ideas on maybe words or terms that you didn't consider before, and then it might just come to you to help you choose a business name. ONC Runk says, the problem of having a background in live sound is I'm a bit of a microphone snob. That's okay. It kind of goes along with being a voice actor. You become sort of a collector of sorts. Some of us more than others. I only have basically what I need, plus maybe a couple more for backup is what I tell myself. And some others become connoisseurs, collectors, snobs, however you want to say it. So completely normal. Robert Reed says, I agree with feeling not good enough yet. I keep fussing about sound floor and my portable studio garage is still cold. Oh, I'm sorry your garage is cold, but I think since you're in our platinum group, post some demos in our Discord and ask the group for feedback on your sound floor. Let's get it figured out so you can stop investing so much of your time on that one thing. Let's help you to move forward, Robert. Let's help you to move forward. Bear338 says, set goals, then meet those goals. I'm a squirrel and a goal board keeps me focused. Ooh, shiny. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Squirrel. Jada says, thank you for that. Of course. Yes. Get it. MG Steven says, I'm sensing themes. Maybe we need to add procrastinating, analysis paralysis, and decide anemia. Decide anemia to the survey. Yeah. Kelsoroni says, definitely go to New Orleans if you can. Cheap vacay. Oh, I know. I want to see it. It's been on my bucket list forever. JCC AOL says, Angela, when you go to New Orleans, and you will, I know it will be for Halloween. I could see you attend a private party at some old Southern Gothic style house. Oh, I know. I've always wanted to go to Anne Rice's The Vampire Ball for Lestat because I'm a big Anne Rice nerd. I've always wanted to go. Is that still on? Are they still doing that? Oh my gosh. I know. Totally. Kelsoroni says, for me, my mental stuff has been difficult to deal with, and I know I need to schedule an appointment with my psych to get some help. Just procrastinating, forking over the money, no health insurance. Thanks, US. The mental stuff. I know. I think even having a community around you and like doing, not just meeting up weekly in these chats, but having a community around you. And you don't have to join like workshops like mine. You don't have to even do that. Just join Facebook groups and have a group of people that understand where you're coming from, understand your struggles, understand your successes. They understand the terminology that you're using. They get it, right? That's why community is so important, especially now, especially when you're doing something on your own. You're isolated most of the time, right? Community will help a lot in that respect. Leslie says, when you go to New Orleans, you must get some beignets. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Beignets for sure. Masonry Construction says, all this talk about mics. Where is Caesar? I know. I thought the same thing. Where is Caesar? Caesar's our resident mic snob. He's got a collection. Joy says, that's right. It takes time. Just because I'm a slump now, because doesn't mean I'll be staying there. It's just one of those things. Yes, it's temporary. Slumps are temporary. And I usually take a slump, and of course, slump is relative to everybody, but I take that downtime as a time to focus on building my foundation, building or revising my website, working on a new demo, doing all of those things. Something else, if I'm slow, I'll invest that time into building upon something else in my business. So there's always something to do. Kelsoroni says, another thing that makes me freeze is pricing. It honestly freaks me out. What if I underprice myself? Over? What is my VO worth? A good place to start is, I've mentioned this before, probably many times, but if you go to my friend Anthony Pica's website, vosjourney.com, he has a rate guide there that'll give you some good jumping off points because he has it. Well, I don't know if he's changed it, but last time I looked anyway, he had it broken down as beginner, intermediate, and expert. So that'll at least give you an idea of what is typical for certain stages and then go from there. There is always also, of course, the GVAA rate guide, which is the VO standard. But Anthony's guide has it broken down to give you a little bit more like experience relevance in price, right? That'll at least give you an idea of what would be ideal. Joya says to masonry construction, need more coffee. Sleeping. Caesar is sleeping. Shh. He's on the other side of the world. It's like midnight there. That's right. He's Philippines, right? Just Jada says, how can I join the Discord server? Oh, my Discord server is for my platinum group. You have to be in my platinum group. It is a exclusive benefit to being in my platinum group. If you want to join, you go to voiceoverangela.com, my website, and you go to plans and pricing, and then platinum group, I think is the very top option there. We do all kinds of fun stuff. Dylan says he does that. He sleeps. I know. I never see him sleep. Or how do we even know that? How do we even know? Okay. I didn't say that. JCC AOL says you should buy Trent Reznor's old house in Trent Reznor has a house in New Orleans. It has a studio. Of course it does, which would be perfect for your voiceover. If I If I win the lottery, that'll definitely be something to put on my list right under my Skyline, my Ford GT, and a few other classics to fill my garage with. Bear338 says, a group is 100% required as much as equipment, in my opinion. Absolutely 100%. 110%. Yes. Yes. MG Stevens says, Angela, your lives are always great. I think this one is one of the best. What? Do you think so? So that's great info. If you can, everyone hit the like button. It helps. It does help. And you guys know I hate talking about myself and my own stuff because it makes me feel oogie. But yes, if you're watching this in Team Replay, please consider subscribing or at the very least liking, because this boosts the algorithm for my stuff here on YouTube. And hopefully it will help other people that are looking for this information to find me. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yes. But don't literally hit the like button. Just click it with your mouse. JCCAOL says, I knew you liked 9 Inch. Yes. That was like high school. Still, yeah. Still 9 Inch Nails, of course. Masonry Construction says, Ford GT like a Ford GT40. If I could afford a GT40, absolutely. A Ford GT, even the newer ones. We went to Barrett Jackson when it was here last month, earlier this month. It was just recently. And I was just in heaven. I had like a beer in one hand and cars and a lobster roll. Heaven. I'm a car nut. Yes, huge car nut. But anyway, I have got to get rolling. I've got to get to the school to pick up the kiddo on a half day. I appreciate everyone being here today. Again, I've said this before, but don't ever let your own fear decide your fate. Recognize it for what it is. It's not life or death fear. It's self-imposed fear. And you can step around it, get around it. You have to tell it, hey, we're not doing this today. This is what I'm doing, and you're not stopping me from it. Because a lot of that fear is self-imposed, right? We do it to ourselves. And that's overthinking, that's criticism, that's imposter syndrome, that's procrastinating, right? That's comparisonitis. We do it to ourselves. We are our own worst critics. Don't allow that to happen to you. Keep moving forward, right? Don't put yourself down for how long it's taking. I'm not, this person is, did it in this much time. I should be able, don't do that to yourself. Just keep moving forward. Remember, progress, no matter how small, is still progress. So keep moving forward. Consistency, right? Consistency is key. All right, you guys. I'll see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. I'll see you then. Have a great week. Bye. Thank you for listening to She Lancer Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. That's me. For more information about me, visit my website, voiceoverangela.com, or hop on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. Again, thanks for listening. Have a great day.